Welcome back to Investing Talk podcast. Today we're taking a close look at Galmed Pharmaceuticals.
And for this exploration, our listener is someone looking to get up to speed quickly, uh, really grasp the key points about Galmed without getting buried in jargon.
Exactly. Someone curious about the opportunities, the main factors involved.
So we've looked at company overviews, a pretty thorough due diligence report,
Yeah.
and recent news covering the latest happenings.
Our goal today is to unpack what Galmed is about, the key things driving recent activity, and, well, what the future might hold, keeping it clear and focused on what matters most to you.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. Galmed is a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company.
Clinical stage, meaning they're mostly in the research and development phase, testing drugs.
That's right. They're running clinical trials to see if their potential drugs are safe and effective. It's a long road, lots of steps before anything hits the market. Definitely involves uncertainty.
And their focus areas are pretty significant. Liver diseases, specifically NASH, that's non-alcoholic steatohepatitis.
A big unmet need there.
And also cardiometabolic conditions, and interestingly, gastrointestinal oncology.
Precisely. Their main candidate, their lead product, is called aramchol.
Aramchol, what is that exactly?
It's a synthetic fatty acid bile acid conjugate. Currently, it's in phase 3 trials for NASH. That's a pretty advanced stage, one of the last hurdles before they might seek approval.
Phase 3 is significant, definitely. Has it been looked at for anything else?
Yes, it has been explored for some other liver conditions too.
Okay, but aramchol isn't the only iron in the fire, is it? I saw something about semaglutide?
Ah, yes. That's quite interesting. They're developing a novel sublingual semaglutide formulation.
Sublingual, so under the tongue.
Correct. Using what they call a self-emulsifying drug delivery system, or SEDDs. This is their move into the very hot GLP-1 market.
GLP-1s are certainly getting a lot of attention, so an under-the-tongue version instead of injections or the current pills. That sounds convenient.
That's the hope. The idea is it could mean better patient adherence, maybe fewer side effects compared to what's out there now, potentially better absorption, less tummy trouble.
Better absorption could be key. That sounds like a real potential advantage.
It could be, yes.
Okay, let's shift to market reaction. Our sources didn't detail every up and down, but there was one standout day recently.
Yes, on May 6th, 2025, the stock jumped quite a bit, actually 20.45%.
Wow. What drove that?
It followed some promising study results they announced. That kind of news is often a huge catalyst for biotech stocks. Positive data tends to reduce the perceived risk.
Makes sense. And what are analysts saying? We saw a hold recommendation, but also a pretty high price target.
That's right. The one-year target is $12, which suggests, well, quite a bit of potential upside from where it's trading now.
But a hold rating signals some caution.
It likely reflects the risks inherent in any clinical stage biotech. Success isn't guaranteed, trials can fail, regulators might say no. That $12 target really banks on things going well with aramchol or the semaglutide.
Understood. Now, financials. Our sources were a bit light here, but a couple of things were mentioned.
Yeah, for the really detailed numbers, revenue, income, EPS, debt, you'd need to dig into their official filings, like the 20F on the SEC website, or check their investor relations page.
Okay.
But the info we did see suggested their current and quick ratios look pretty solid.
And for listeners maybe not deep into financial jargon, what does that generally mean, good ratios?
It suggests they're probably in a decent position to cover their short-term debts, their immediate liabilities. That's important for a company burning cash on R&D.
Right. They need funds to keep the trials going.
Exactly. And we also saw no sign of dividend payments, which is pretty standard for companies at this stage. They usually reinvest everything back into research.
Okay, stepping back for the bigger picture, what are some potential weak spots or vulnerabilities we should be aware of?
I'd say a key one is relying heavily on just a couple of main products. If aramchol hits a snag, or the semaglutide formulation faces problems in trials or with regulators.
That could really hurt the company's outlook.
Considerably, yes. It's a concentration risk.
But on the flip side, they must have some strengths.
Oh, definitely. Their innovation in drug delivery, like that sublingual semaglutide, could be a major plus, a real competitive advantage.
And the aramchol formulation itself.
Yes, the aramchol meglumine formulation apparently has better solubility and absorption. That's a strength, and it might also extend their patent protection out to 2035.
Longer patent life is always valuable if the drug makes it.
Absolutely. That could be a significant asset down the road.
Now, who are they up against? Competition?
Well, in the NASH space specifically, Names like Madrigal Pharmaceuticals and Simibae Therapeutics came up.
Okay.
And if you look at the broader cardiometabolic area, especially GLP-1s, that field is extremely crowded. Lots of big players.
So how does a smaller company like Galmed stand out? What's their edge?
It probably comes back to those innovative delivery methods like the sublingual approach. And diversifying their pipeline helps too.
Just think diversifying, like the oncology angle.
Potentially, yes. And also their collaboration with Bayer on regorafenib, an existing cancer drug. That partnership could help them gain traction in oncology. But differentiating that semaglutide product will be absolutely critical in the packed GLP-1 market.
Looking forward then, what are the key things investors should watch for? Upcoming milestones.
The big ones are potential regulatory approval for Aramchol in NETH and then its launch. And of course, continued progress on developing that sublingual semaglutide.
So tracking trial results, regulatory news.
Exactly. Any updates on submissions, approvals, trial data, those will be crucial.
And the potential roadblocks, what are the big risks on that path?
Well, regulatory hurdles are always a major risk factor in this industry. Getting drugs approved is tough.
And the competition.
And the competition, especially in that GLP-1 market, as we said, it's intense. They'll really need to show their sublingual version offers something clearly better or different to succeed there.
Now, you mentioned the oncology research earlier. That seemed like a particularly interesting recent development.
It is. It suggests they might be broadening their scope beyond just liver disease. Early research, mind you. But it indicates Aramchol might actually boost how well drugs like regorafenib work against certain gastrointestinal cancers in lab and animal models.
Enhancing existing treatments. That could be a whole new market for Aramchol.
It could open up a completely different pathway for the drug, yes.
And the sublingual semaglutide progress there, too.
Yes, they signed a term sheet to develop it. That's a concrete step forward. And as we discussed, the potential advantages over current oral options are significant.
Right, the bioavailability, potentially fewer side effects.
And they might use the 505(b)(2) regulatory pathway. That's sometimes a quicker route for reformulated drugs, leveraging existing data.
And it looks like they're not going it alone. They have partners.
That's key. Strategic alliances are really important in biotech. They're partnering with Entimus on the sublingual semaglutide and with Virginia Commonwealth University for that cancer research.
So these partnerships add credibility.
They do. Partnerships plus positive study results are often seen as really strong growth signals in biotech, especially in hot areas like NASH and oncology.
Okay, let's try to pull this all together from an investment standpoint. How should you, our listener, think about Galmed?
Well, Galmed definitely presents as a speculative investment opportunity. There's clear potential in their innovative pipeline, especially moving into the GLP-1 space. But it's crucial to remember the inherent risks. Clinical stage biotech is volatile. Clinical trials, regulatory approvals, these are major hurdles. Success is never guaranteed.
And the lack of detailed, up-to-the-minute financials in our immediate sources reinforces that caution.
Absolutely. It underscores the need for thorough due diligence on your part. Without that full financial picture, knowing their cash burn rate and runway, it's hard to form a really solid investment thesis. You need to watch future developments very closely.
Still, that recent stock surge, outpacing many similar companies, suggests the market is noticing something positive.
That's fair. It indicates a positive reaction to the recent news and data. But, it's just one data point. You need to see it in the context of everything else.
So, boiling it all down for you, our listener, Galmed Pharmaceuticals is an intriguing company, real potential with their new approaches in NASH, that bold move into GLP-1s, and the early oncology work adds another layer.
But like any company at this stage, there are significant hurdles, significant risks. And the lack of easy-to-grab recent financial details really means you need to do your homework.
That potential upside from the analyst target is tempting, no doubt, especially after that recent stock pop. You'll definitely want to keep a close watch on clinical trial news, regulatory updates, partnerships, and especially how that sublingual semaglutide progresses.
Which brings up an important question for you to think about. When you look at biotech, how do you personally weigh the potential rewards from innovation like new delivery systems or diverse pipelines against those very real risks involved in drug development? It's a critical balance.
If exploring companies like Galmed and digging into the complexities of biotech investing is something you find valuable, please do subscribe, like, and comment. It genuinely helps us understand what information is most useful for your investment journey.
And we strongly encourage you to look into Galmed's own SEC filings and their investor relations materials. That's where you'll find the detailed financials and the full story on their ongoing work.
Thanks for tuning in to this exploration of Galmed Pharmaceuticals on Investing Talk podcast. We'll catch you next time with another insightful discussion.